Hi, welcome to Chair Yoga. Congratulations on taking this time out from your busy life to take time for yourself, carving out this time to feel better, to stretch, to breathe, to enable yourself to feel so much better, which you richly deserve. Yoga is a great tradition. It's 2,500 years old. Today we're going to bring it into the chair to be able to accommodate those of you who cannot get up and down off of the floor on your own, but also for those of you that want to use it at work or in other situations where you really don't want to get up and down off the floor. You may be dressed a particular way, for example. So today we're going to be using a chair. I'm going to give you a class here that is designed to take you through different parts of the body, to be able to open them up, to be able to breathe, and as I said, feel a lot better. And a little bit goes a long way in yoga, including chair yoga. Now I mentioned the breath. The breath is an essential thing. In fact, the breath is the most direct, immediate means to lower the stress in the body. So today we're going to be utilizing it throughout the class with the different movements. And this idea of the breath applies not only to yoga, but to life itself. Exercise, yes, but just even getting in and out of the car, walking up the stairs, etc. And so if you're having trouble being able to do movements, stop. You know, if you feel any pain at any point in the class, just stop doing those movements. So the idea of no pain, no gain doesn't really apply to yoga. In fact, if you feel pain, just again, as I said, be sure to stop. So we want to stretch, and you'll feel maybe a little bit of discomfort as you stretch beyond what you normally stretch, but we just don't want to have pain. So in most yoga classes, we start with shavasana, where we're lying down on the floor. So that pose just basically means resting pose. Well, in a chair, we're going to rest in the chair at first, just to gain an awareness not only of how the body's feeling, but also noticing the speed of the thoughts, the contents of the thoughts, as well as your mood and emotions. And just by pausing and stopping, which is something that's very good for us to do anyway throughout our day, just by stopping like that, we're going to have an opportunity to get in touch with where you are feeling tension or tightness throughout the body, where you may even feel pain. Sometimes we don't notice pain until we actually stop. So we're going to take just a few minutes to do that. I do want to mention a caution here, and that is not only to not overstretch in the mention about pain, but also if you're engaging in a new program, exercise program for yourself, be sure to check with your doctor or healthcare provider first, just to make sure that it's okay. So that said, let's begin. So I'd like you to sit in a chair, and this can be any chair that you have at home, just so it's stable. We want to make sure that it's pretty sturdy so that all 4 points of the chair don't move for you, so that it provides a good base for you. So we're going to begin by getting in touch with the body. So I'm going to ask you to just simply have both feet on the floor, sit up nice and straight with your chin just slightly down. Now, when you do this, this causes the thinking mind to slow down. So let's take a nice deep breath all the way into the abdomen with a slow, easy exhale. We're just going to take just a little bit of time to get in touch with what's going on internally. So now breathing in and breathing out. And if you can, see if you can breathe in and out through your nose, or breathe in and out, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Those have been shown to be the most effective ways to open the lungs and to cause the relaxation response to occur. If for some reason you can't breathe through your nose because of a cold or another complication, just breathe through your mouth. And so, just allowing the breath now to settle you in and settle you down to our practice. And now notice and feel your breath just moving in and out, just like the ocean tide. Slowly breathing in and slowly letting that breath roll right back out just like the tide. Just in and out. And as you're breathing in and breathing out, I want you to become aware of your body. So we're just going to slowly scan the body from head to toe. And as you do, notice any areas that are tight or tense, sore or uncomfortable in any way. And just be aware of those areas, as well as just send your breath to those regions as you just scan slowly through the body from top all the way down to the bottom. And noticing as well your mind, your thoughts. Notice how quickly they're moving. Being aware of the content of your thoughts. As well, noticing your mood, your emotions, your feelings. And once again, returning to the breath. And now we're going to move on to the yogic breath, which is utilizing the full capacities of the lungs. So we're going to take in a deep breath, and as you do, I want you to create a balloon effect in your stomach. So inhale, and just let your stomach come out, and exhale it back down. Just do that a couple of times to get used to it. Now we're going to take that breath a little higher. So as you inhale, you're going to inhale into your belly, take it up into the diaphragm, and then to the top of the chest. And on the exhale, just gently squeeze your stomach towards the spine, causing it to cave in just a little bit. Exhale completely. And then once again, inhale, filling up the stomach, diaphragm and chest. Exhale, slowly squeezing it out. Just taking your time as you do this. As you do, you might notice that you really are beginning to not only utilize all the capabilities of the lungs, but you begin to feel better fairly quickly because we're moving oxygen more effectively through the body. Good. Just taking your time. Okay, and just one more. Good. Excellent. So now beginning to wiggle your fingers and toes as a way to fully come back into the room, moving your head in any way you like. And when you're ready, slowly, softly opening your eyes, coming back into the room. And it's interesting just to notice how you feel already as a result of your concentrated breathing and your inward focus. So let's get moving, do some of this chair yoga. So I'm going to ask you to sit up nice and straight in the chair to begin with. So we want the back straight but not too stiff, but we do want it straight. Sitting up nice and tall with a long neck. We're going to do a little breathing here and some movement. So inhale up with the arms, exhaling down. Good. Again, inhaling up, exhaling down. So now we're combining the breath with the movement, inhaling up, exhaling down. Good. This time let's inhale up, and as you do, let's form the letter V, tilting your head up just a little bit on the inhale. Nice. Exhale down. Inhaling up. Slowly exhaling down. Notice we're moving at a nice smooth pace. We're not rushing. Nice and easy. Inhale up. Exhale down. And even though we're doing it at a nice, easy pace, we're going to see that the body responds very quickly to that. It's going to stretch and open. Good. Now this time we're going to arch the back. Go ahead and arch the back. Bend back a little bit. Inhale up, and as you do, straighten your back now, touching your hands together if you can and bringing it right down the center of your chest. If you can't do that for some reason, just do the best you can to approximate it. Inhaling up, slowly exhaling down. Again, inhaling up, and notice that it's a pretty meditative sort of movement. So part of yoga is meditation. That's the original design of it, is to move towards a more meditative state. And then good. Let's come down. At this point, I want you to just place your hands in what we call prayer position, tuck your elbows in, and then just let your chin come down, pressing your feet down. So we're going to call this mountain pose, Tadasana, mountain pose in a chair. And this is to create a feeling of being solid. Feel that solidity as you breathe, and just holding the pose. Good. Slowly release it. Let's come forward in the chair just a little bit, making sure you don't fall off the chair. Let's place both hands on the knees, sitting up nice and straight, not too stiff. Take in a deep breath. As you exhale, let's come forward just a little bit, and we're just going to circle in one direction. Either one is fine. So just breathing as you go. Find that place where you naturally breathe in and naturally release the breath. You may notice how pleasant this feels just moving like this. The body actually wants to feel better. And with yoga, we're allowing the wisdom of the body to come forward by creating positive openings and conditionings for it. And then let's circle in the other direction. When we do this, we're releasing the low back right away. So many people struggle with low back problems. We want to do all of this in a gentle way, but we'll see that it'll start to open up. We're also releasing the hips. The hips and tailbone contain healing energy. When we open like this, we allow that energy to move up the spine and outward through the body. So again, just breathing as you go, taking your time. Nice, good job. So these can be bigger circles if you like. For example, you can really come forward depending on your flexibility and go around, but really just doing the smaller movements is a good thing in and of itself. So good, let's come to a halt. As you do, bring your mind and attention into your body and how you're feeling. Feels good, doesn't it, already? So with mindful yoga, with chair yoga in this case, we're going to keep coming back to the breath, number one, but also your point of focus coming into the body. So let's sit back in the chair and let's open up those hips a little bit further. So now sit up nice and straight with your back against the back of the chair, and just do your best to accommodate this movement if you can. And we're going to bring the left foot or left ankle across the right knee, sort of like you see men typically sit. So sitting up nice and tall with your hand on your knee. So we don't want to press down there, especially if you're female, because of the way that the body is built in the back. We just want to have the hand there. You can stay like this for 20, 30 seconds or longer if you like. We're just going to take our time here. Okay, so now, if you want more of a stretch, sit up nice and tall, take a breath. As you exhale, you're just going to gently come forward and feel that stretch. Feel a little bit deeper in that hip, don't you, right? It's beginning to open up just by this movement. Now, if you want even more of a stretch, okay, we're going to come forward and we're just going to drape both arms on either side of that up foot. Once you do that, just drop the head. Really see if you can release the head. You're breathing and releasing the neck. Very slowly, we're going to lift our head up and just bring your body slowly back up straight. As you release or unhook that leg, notice that that left leg may actually feel longer than the right at this point. So it tells you, it's giving you the information that you're really stretching already. We're going to do the same to the right. So we're going to bring the right ankle across the left knee, placing the right hand on the right knee, just laying it there, breathing. You might notice a difference in the two sides, right? So again, you can stay as long as you like in any of these poses. As long as you allow yourself to become stretched or more flexible as you go, you can start to follow your own wisdom about this. So initially we want to stretch at about 30 seconds, especially if you want to go forward with some of the deeper stretches here. So now let's simulate the same thing. Take a deep breath, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, coming forward, just beginning to open up the hip a little bit more. Good. So if you feel pain now, back off. You may feel that discomfort of stretching this area because you often may not stretch in this particular way. Take a breath. As you exhale, we're just going to drop both arms on either side of the up foot, dropping the head. Once again, releasing the neck as you go. Good, and slowly now bringing your face and head up, hands on your leg, and slowly bringing the body all the way back up and unhooking. Notice now that maybe both legs feel longer. So again, notice the pleasant sensations that are already starting to arise and how the body's already beginning to respond as a result. Okay, nice. So let's sit back in the chair. Let's stay with the legs just a little bit longer. So I'm going to ask you to just bring your left leg up and let's keep a little bit of a bend in the knee, okay, so that we don't risk the knee. So this is to warm up the knee, but also to begin to stretch the other muscles in the leg. So take a breath. As you exhale, point the toes. As you exhale, you're going to flex the toes and the foot towards your face. Inhale and point. Exhale and flex. Back and forth. Just doing that a few times. And notice how that feels, opening up the Achilles and the ankles, the calves. And also this is stretching the hamstring, this long muscle in the back as well. Okay. And the next time you point, we're going to stop there and we're just going to circle the foot in one direction. And then in the other direction. And let's bring the leg back down. And notice as you do that, that leg feels a little bit more alive, like it's feeling better already. Let's do the same to the right. So bringing the right leg up, pointing the toes with a slight bend in the knee once again. Inhale and point. Exhale and flex towards the face. Point and inhale. Flex and exhale. Good. You're getting the hang of it, I can tell. back and forth. Nice. Again, you might notice a difference in the two sides. This is really common. We begin to notice this in yoga. And with yoga, we're making friends with both sides of the body, so to speak. Okay, let's circle in one direction, and then in the other. And sometimes you find out that you feel better, number one, but also you stand better and you walk better as a result of these kind of stretches. And slowly now bringing that foot back down. Notice how both legs feel at this point. Good. Okay, so sitting up nice and tall again, let's move around the body a little bit. So let's start with the shoulders. The shoulders really can be a point of tension for people. If you ask enough people, where's your point of stress, most will point to the shoulders, although there's other favorite parts of the body. But let's release those shoulders and open up the chest as well. So we're going to do just a few things here. So here I'm going to ask you to extend your arms straight out. So doing your best, straighten your arms really as if you're reaching in separate directions, like your arms are being pulled in separate directions. Breathe, stretching it out as you breathe in and out. Now let's take a breath. As you exhale, just roll the shoulders back and down one time and squeeze them together. So you're imagining maybe a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. You're squeezing. Good. Breathing. Keep holding the tension. This will end. Nice. Keep squeezing, but breathing. Good. Now make a fist. Bend your elbows a little bit. Now draw your elbows back. Continue breathing. Good. Now slowly let it down. Ugh. You can really feel that energy, that circulation, that lymphatic fluid go through your shoulders and your body as you do that. What a release. So in yoga, we often have a tension phase where we're tensing parts of the body, but then when we release, gosh, we really feel better, but we can see how much tension we've been carrying around as we move through our lives as well. So let's stay on the shoulders just a little bit longer. So I'm going to ask you to just touch your fingertips to your shoulders. Okay, sitting up nice and straight again. Take a breath. As you exhale, we're just going to roll the shoulders forward. So you're drawing circles, imaginary circles, with your elbows. So we're coming forward first. And notice how that feels, starting to release a lot of different muscles in the shoulder and upper back region. Okay, and let's take it to the rear. You might notice some soreness as you're doing this from where you have been holding so much tension. Just letting it go. Nice. And then coming to halt. Now take a breath and open the chest further. Bring those elbows further apart. As you exhale, see if you can bring your elbows in and together if possible, or at least approximate it. Inhale and open. Exhale, closing the elbows. Good. Now as we're doing this, we're also bringing in the chest, you notice, right? Exhale and close. Good. So for these, you probably want to do them about 6 to 10 times, depending on how you're feeling and what you need. But again, you can modify this based on your time constraints and what you're needing to do. Nice. Okay, let's release it down. Ugh, right? You almost want to moan right away because it's such a release of tension. But notice that it starts to feel better too, that positive kind of healing energy. Let's take the arms straight out in front of you. So I want you to pretend like you're trying to hand me something. And so you're really extending out. So really stretch those arms straight out as best you can while you sit up nice and straight, pressing your feet into the floor. Take a breath. As you exhale, you're touching the shoulders with your fingertips and back out. Inhale Exhale and touch. Inhale and open. Good. Exhale and contract. Inhale. Exhale, touching the shoulders. And this actually is for the shoulders, but you probably notice what else it's designed for, and that's for opening up the elbow joint. There's not that many ways you can open up the elbow joint, but this is one of them. Good. All right, just one more time. Really stretch it out. Good. Back to the shoulder and let's bring it down. Nice. So part of the structure of the shoulders has to do with the neck. Let's do a little bit to loosen and soften the neck. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take a breath. As you exhale, just turn your head slowly to the right as if you're going in slow motion. Good. Inhale back to center. Nice. Exhale, turning back in the same direction. Inhale back to center. Good. Again, inhale. Okay, back to center. Taking a good breath. Exhale, let's take it in the opposite direction. So you're just doing this a few times, but notice that it doesn't take much to start to open up the neck, right? Good, and coming to a halt. So I want you to picture that you're drawing a circle with your nose. So it's going to feel a little awkward, but it's really good for loosening the neck. So you're just rolling the head in one direction, like you're drawing a circle with your nose, then in the other direction, and coming to a halt. Good. And using your right arm, if you can, you're just going to cradle your head. So you're going to just cradle it. You're not going to drop the body over. You're just going to tilt the head just a little bit, stretching out that part of the neck. You're going to take your left arm out straight and with the hand flat if you can, and you're just going to press down lightly. Notice that stretch in the neck and the upper shoulders. Now keep your head to the side, but we're just going to roll forward a little bit with the chin. Coming slowly back. We're going to release both arms, bringing the head up slowly. And notice that already what's happening to that side. I'll bring the left arm now up and over, cradling the head. And again, you're just barely tilting the head over. Stretching out that right arm, flat hand pressing down, feeling that stretch. Good. Slowly bring the chin forward. Slowly returning the head, releasing the arms, and noticing as you come back up. Now just simply move the neck and the head in any way that you like to loosen anything further. It's advised that you do this slowly. So you don't want to do any jerky movements with the neck. It's not really necessary anyway, but just finding a spot that needs to open up a little bit further. Good, and coming to a halt. So let's return now not only to the chest, but the torso as well. So we're loosening as we're going down here quite a bit. So one thing that really helps us to open up the chest and make the spine more flexible is a twist. And the beauty of a twist is not only that it's going to make the spine more flexible and open up the chest and the torso, but also it's going to squeeze impurities out of the different organs, okay? So I'm going to ask you to sit up once again, nice and tall, long neck, placing now your left hand on your right knee. You're just going to place your other hand to the side or a little bit behind you on the chair. So this hand is just here for support. We're not going to jerk around. In fact, we want to go slow. So we're sitting up nice and tall. Good. Take a breath. As you exhale, you're going to twist over that right shoulder, starting with the stomach, chest, and then the head. Just coming around gently. Now inhale slightly back to me. Good. Exhale, see if you can go around just a little further and then stop. Wherever you are is fine. Breathing in and breathing out. Squeezing out any stress. We're also squeezing out impurities as we go. Good. Slowly now coming all the way back around. And as you do, notice what you're feeling. That part of the body really twists and begins to open up a little bit further. It's a good feeling, right? So now sitting up nice and tall, you can place your right hand on your left knee, and you're just stabilizing with that left hand once again. Okay? So sitting up nice and tall, giving me a long neck, inhale up. As you exhale, you're going to twist over that left shoulder, just gently twisting, leading with the stomach, chest, and then the head. Inhale slightly back to me, take a breath. Good. Exhale, see if you can go around a little further and then just stop. Wherever you stop is fine. Breathing in and breathing out. Long neck, release the shoulders. Good. Nice. So again, you want to stay in it 20 to 30 seconds if you can. Squeeze out that stress. Good. Slowly coming all the way back around gently. Okay. And then coming back to center. Nice. See what you notice. Okay. So I'm going to open up the torso a little bit further here. So you're going to place that right hand to the side of the chair once again. So just really stretch that left arm straight up if you can. Just really reach. So you're trying, it's like you're trying to reach the ceiling, and open up your fingers if you can. Take a breath. And then let's exhale slowly over, bending over, reaching. Turn your face down and to the right a bit. Reach for that wall. Nice. Inhale up. Exhaling over. Again, inhaling up, exhaling over, inhaling up. Just one more time, let's come over. This time just stay there as you do it. Reach for that wall, breathe in and out normally. Good, inhale up and exhale down. So notice the obliques on that side. So you're really stretching out these outer muscles, but you're stretching out those organs as well. Good. Now let's switch sides here. So you're going to place your left hand to the side. You're going to bring the right arm up and really open the fingers. Try to touch the ceiling, right? Take a breath. As you exhale over to your left, turn your face down and to the left, reaching to that wall with your right arm. Good. Inhale up and reach. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. And again, you might notice a difference between the two sides. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. And exhaling over. Let's just stay right there. You're reaching, just breathing normally. You may notice a difference in those two sides. One was easier to stretch than the other. It just gives you information. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, bringing it down. Noticing now on that side how that feels now. So noticing again this idea of making friends with both sides, like feeling the difference now, how your body's feeling maybe more alive and aligned. Okay, so while we're right here, I thought we'd use a strap to show you a couple of things here. And you can take either a belt at home if you don't have a strap. You could use a man's tie if you want to. You can use a piece of rope for that matter. But in any case, what we're going to do, we're just going to keep the hands about shoulder width apart. We're going to just take them out right in front of us. Okay, so this is going to be for the arms and for the shoulders and the chest. So it's hard to isolate any one muscle because all of this is basically one unit, right? All right, so sitting up nice and tall, you're just going to have your arms straight out in front of you. You don't have to lock the arms at all. Take a breath. As you exhale, you're going to be pulling that strap apart in opposite directions. So keep breathing, but you're only using about 75% of your capacity. So you're not trying to rip this thing apart. By the way, I'll know if you're using more than 75%, right? So keep breathing, sitting up nice and tall. And shaking is okay, so you might even see me shaking a little bit doing this. We just don't want to have pain. Good, slowly release it down. Go a little bit further. We're going to take it out, the hands out a little wider, okay? Bring it up as far as you would like, or as far as your arms and shoulders will allow you, okay? You may be able to get them up over your head or just to here. That's great too, wherever you can reach. So you're bringing them up. Good, take a breath once again. Exhale, pulling them apart. Nice, breathing in and breathing out. So by moving the arms, we're getting a different angle on muscles, right? Good, release it, slowly bringing it down. Probably feeling pretty good, right? Now you can take a block if you have one. You notice I have a block here. But you can use a thick book for what I'm about to do. In any case, what you want to do is you're going to have it between your hands, right? And you're going to bring your elbows up, as always, sitting up nice and tall. Take a breath. As you exhale, you're going to press into that block. It again, about 75% of your capacity, holding, breathing. So this is using different muscles in the arms and chest. Breathing. Nice. Exhale, slowly release it down. Good. See what you feel with each one of these, right? Okay, so we can place that down. However, we're gonna stand it up. So it's a good idea to get a block if you're going to practice this on a regular basis, which I really encourage you to do, because again, it doesn't take much. But if you haven't invested in a block, at least again, get a book or something, maybe a thick piece of wood that you can stand up. And we're going to stand it up on end. We're going to come to the edge of the chair. So those of you that do yoga on a mat are familiar with standing forward bend. Here we're going to do seated forward bend. So all I'm going to ask you to do is come to the edge of your chair without falling off. Place your elbows down onto the knees and simply drop your head. So you're really tucking your chin down. Just let the head let go completely. The head wants to stay up, but just encourage it to release. And notice as you're doing that, you're getting a stretch the top part of your back, but you'll start feeling it all the way down your back as you just stay in this position. You don't have to do much, right? If you want more of a stretch, keep your head down, but what we're going to do, we're going to place our hands on the block itself. So as you place your hands on this block or book or piece of wood, go ahead and put a little bit of weight on it. It's okay. But then most importantly, release that head. You might notice as you do this that your neck is sore. It's from holding up this 12-pound block on our head all day, right? Okay, so release a little further if you want by just changing the dimensions of that block or that book or piece of wood and drop your head further. Now, if you're used to this kind of stretch and you want, you can remove the block altogether as long as your hands can touch the floor. And once again, we're going to really release the head completely. Take a breath and release. As you do that, you can really notice how good that feels all the way down the back. You're really stretching out the back there. Good, now let's keep the head down, but we're going to return the elbows to the knees with the head down. So you're having a change in blood pressure, so you want to accommodate this slowly. Placing now the hands on the knees. And you're just going to come up slowly, sort of like a rag doll, just slowly coming up. Rolling the shoulders back and down, and the last thing that comes up is the head. A lot of times the head wants to run to the next thing, so encourage the head to slow down as you move through yoga. So this was an inversion, so you're turning the organs upside down. So again, it's really invigorating the organs, but also it's lengthening the spine. You can imagine we're using gravity just to stretch forward, and it feels good when you come back up. But also when you do a forward bend, you kick in the parasympathetic nervous system, which allows a deep sense of relaxation, although you still feel a nice energy as well. So seated forward bend is great, especially like if you're sitting in an office or you're stuck at home. For some reason or another, you're not able to move about. If you're in a chair, you can even actually do it in a wheelchair. I've seen folks do it in a wheelchair. So there's different ways that you can utilize all of this. Now I have next to me a bolster, and this is a padded modification that we use in yoga, but you can use something like a really thick pillow for what I'm about to show you, okay? So we're just going to bring this into our lap. Those of you that practice yoga, non-chair yoga I should say, are used to something called child's pose. And you think, well, how can I do child's pose in a chair, right? But so with this, it's simple. So we're going to have something really thick, and you're going to separate your knees pretty wide. And you're just going to place like one arm down like this, and you're just going to cross the other hand and arm down from there. And you're simply going to drop your head so that your forehead comes onto your hands or your forearm, just dropping forward. And just releasing and staying right there, breathing in and breathing out. Just let go from head to toe. See what all you can release. This is known as a grounding pose. So with anxiety, that anxious energy is typically from the solar plexus up. It's very heady stuff, right? So by bending forward and releasing and taking your head towards the ground, you literally are grounding that energy. That's part of why we're doing this as well. Notice how that feels. You're just surrendering, you're just letting go, breathing. You can stay there as long as you like, but for now we're just going to ease back up, nice and easy coming up. Again, moving gently, being aware that you're changing your blood pressure as you go. So we're going to release this down. And so now I'm going to show you just a couple of poses with the chair, but we're going to be standing up. Okay, so now we're standing. Probably feels good to stand. If you can, of course, if you're unable to stand, that's really okay. What you've done is really sufficient to help yourself. But if you can stand, we're going to use the chair as an accommodation. You may want this chair against the wall just to make yourself a little bit more stable. So we're going to do tree pose in a chair. So for those of you that practice yoga, you're thinking, how can I do tree pose in a chair, right? But we're going to start with having the seat perpendicular to your body. So you're going to be pressing, in this case, your right leg right up against the seat of the chair. You're going to make your left leg stiff. So think of it being stiff as a board. And you're going to lean a little bit of weight that way. And then smoothly, you're going to bring this right foot up onto the chair. It's okay wherever it is and however your knee is turned initially. But then you're just going to do your best to open up your hips by rotating your knee toward the back of the chair. So you're going to have your hip pointers still facing forward if you can. But again, this is maybe something you don't do very often, so be easy with yourself. So once you're there, we're going to press the feet down. We're going to bring the hands into prayer position. Okay? Take a breath. And then begin reaching up as you take in that breath, reaching up over the head and opening up. You're never going to guess this, like a tree, right? So you're opening up. So the idea is like you're the branches of the tree, reaching up, lifting the chest, breathing. So this is a great chest and hip opener. You can feel that, especially in that right hip and in the chest. So you're just looking straight ahead. Good. So again, 20, 30 seconds or longer. Then we're going to bring the hands together. Slowly return the hands all the way down to the center of the chest. Place your right hand on your right knee. Help the knee and the hip by turning, helping it turn a little bit slowly, and then returning that right leg to the ground. And once again, you might notice, wow, the leg seems like it's longer. So we're going to switch sides here to get the other side as well. So we're just going to move the chair. And again, you may want the back of the chair against the wall just for further stability. But let's open up the left hip now. So you're standing up with that left leg right up against the seat of the chair. So let's make that right leg straight as a board, put a little bit of weight on it, and smoothly lift up that left foot and put it onto the chair, however you can get it up there, okay? And then you're just going to encourage, you don't want to force it, but just start to encourage that knee to open up and the hips. Nice, good. Bringing the hands to the center of the chest, you're pressing your feet down, feeling stable, feeling your roots. Now, as you inhale, we're going to start bringing the arms up. Hands and arms come up. Good. Open up like a tree. Nice. You're reaching, opening up your fingers, pressing your feet down. Feel that hip opener on that left side now, as well as the chest, of course. And this is bringing in the shoulders and really the whole body, if you think about it. Breathing, pressing down. Good. Now slowly bringing the hands together. Nice smooth movement coming back into prayer position. Placing your left hand on the left knee to help it and the hip accommodate to come back towards the center of the chair and then back down, returning that foot and leg down. And notice the opening on both sides of the body. So that's tree pose in a chair. Okay, so our last standing pose will be downward facing dog in a chair. How in the world can you do this, right? So I think in some ways it's a more effective stretch than downward facing dog on the floor, and you'll probably see why. So we have the chair snugly against the wall, making sure it's secure. And we're going to turn so that we're actually facing the chair at this point. So your feet are about hip width apart, and you're just going to bring your hands down into the side front of the chair. Okay? So feeling secure. Again, the feet are about hip width apart. You're going to step back with a straight leg, left leg just stepping back nice and straight, followed by the right leg. So now you're pressing that chair right into the wall. Make sure you're secure so you don't slip. Now, it's best if your legs are straight, but if you need to bend your knees, go ahead and do that. Or if you need to bring your feet a little closer, that's really okay to do. I'm just really stretching out because I've done this for a while. But you want to really elongate, okay? Probably doesn't feel too bad already, okay? So take a breath. As you exhale, drop the head and press your hips towards that wall behind you. As you stay in that position, just lengthen your arms a little bit and create more of a space between your waist and your thighs. Just breathing in and breathing out, about 20 to 30 seconds, you're almost there. Now slowly raising your head up, seeing where you're going to go next. Step forward with the left foot followed by the right. And we're just going to very slowly ragdoll up. Again, that change in pressure, we're just coming up slowly, right? Taking a breath, get used to that. So downward facing dog in a chair really elongates and stretches you out well. And if you have a cold or something, it's really good for opening up the lungs. Down dog in a chair. So now we're going to wrap up our class in a similar fashion to how we started it. And that's going to be with resting pose. And with resting pose, shavasana pose, we're just going to sit up nice and tall again, but of course we're relaxed. And at this point, hopefully you're noticing those endorphins, those painkillers moving through the body, feeling that renewed sense of circulation, etc. Just plain feeling good, right? Sitting up nice and tall, and you can have your hands in any position you like. But let's now allow the eyes to fall shut and just bring the chin down just a little bit. So we're not dropping the head forward, but just chin down just a little bit. Breathing in and breathing out. And this is the point in the class where we say you're enjoying the benefits of your practice. Enjoying those pleasant sensations, positive energy. Just breathing in and breathing out. Noticing now the ways in which your body is shifted. You might notice now that your thoughts have shifted, maybe the speed or the content. Notice your mood and your emotions, maybe those have shifted as well. And become aware of your breathing once again, nice and relaxed and easy. And you can stay in final shavasana or resting pose as long as you like, of course, depending on your time constraints. So now, taking a deep, full breath all the way into your abdomen with a slow, easy exhale. And just one more, taking a nice deep breath, followed by a long exhale, and beginning to wiggle your fingers and toes, moving your head in any way you like. And when you're ready, slowly, softly opening your eyes, coming back into the room. And so we're bringing our palms together in prayer position, and we end with the word namaste. And namaste is just an international way of showing respect for one another, those who have practiced with you, and is simply meaning that the spirit within me honors and recognizes the spirit within you. And that's how we end the practice. Namaste. I'm glad you joined us for our practice today, and I really want to encourage you to continue looking at this as much as you can and practicing these movements. And you'll notice over time that you'll be able to stretch a little further. Doesn't take very long, and also you'll start to enjoy more of the benefits of yoga, and again, just feeling much better. Thank you.